Mia, and right now I'm standing here in the spot that will hopefully be Augustana's own native prairie garden. I know it doesn't look a ton like a prairie now, but there are a bunch of seeds and shoots in the ground, and in another year or so we're hoping they'll grow up into a beautiful prairie.
So what's a tallgrass prairie? It's a biome, or a type of ecosystem, that's found throughout the Midwest, or at least it was in the past. In states like Minnesota, Iowa, South Dakota, and Kansas, there used to be thousands of miles of grasslands. Imagine an ocean, but made of grasses instead of water. The grasses and flowers might be taller than a human, and they stretched on so far that you couldn't see the ending. These grasslands were filled with bison, antelope, wolves, eagles, all kinds of small mammals, birds, insects, reptiles, you name it. I say that all this was true in the past because the grasslands are pretty much all gone now. Today, less than 1% of original tallgrass prairie still exists. That makes it the most endangered ecosystem in the world, more than the polar ice caps or the Great Barrier Reef. So what happened to the prairies? When Europeans colonized the Midwest, they realized that prairies were great places to start a farm. So we plowed up the grasses and flowers and planted cornfields and grazed cattle instead. We also stopped too many wildfires. Prairies depend on wildfire to burn down trees and bushes and rejuvenate the soil. But farmers don't want fires burning down their crops, so we got really good at stopping wildfires, and then the trees and forests grew bigger and crowded out the prairie.
So why is a prairie important on Augustana's campus? I think first it's important that we remember who we are and where we come from. This place wasn't always Augustana, and it won't always be Augustana. But it is in South Dakota, and there's a certain climate, and there are certain animals and plants that belong here, and it's important for us to remember that. Second, a prairie is really practical. All the plants that will live here one day have evolved to belong in South Dakota. So they don't need a lot of water, they can handle the temperatures, they don't need to be mown. By having prairie grasses here instead of regular turf grass, we're going to save a ton of money and energy on water and mowing and other services. Third, prairies are super important for the environment. Prairie grasses and flowers provide homes and food for a bunch of small mammals and insects like butterflies and bees that depend on native prairie grasses for food, but can't always find them in places where we've mown down the grasses and built houses and gardens instead.
Also, these plants have amazing root systems. The roots of regular lawn grass are maybe 2 inches long, but the roots of prairie grasses can be up to 12 feet. That means they allow a lot more water and air to get down into the ground, which makes the soil healthier. They also store a lot of carbon dioxide in those roots, which takes that carbon out of the air, which is one solution to climate change.
So this garden is still a work in progress. It's going to need quite a few years before it looks like a prairie, and there are always a ton of tasks to be done. I've been working on this prairie for over a year now, and there are tons of fun little jobs that I love doing, just getting my hands in the dirt and planting things or building things. So if you want to get involved, you can contact me, send me an email or a text, or you can talk to Dr. O'Hara or Dr. Malawa to help us out.